For the first time in what feels like a long time, we've had some news about the new Football Manager game, FM25. Obviously, we knew some stuff already, but today there's been a new development update from the creator of the game, Mars Jacobson, where he's given a few different things that will be changing in the next iteration of Football Manager, and already there's quite a lot of talk online, a lot of people not too happy about it. So today we're going to break it all down, tell you what's going on, and give you our opinions as to whether we should maybe be worried about FM25. So let's go ahead and break down this development update for FM25. I'll leave a link to this article in the description should you want to read it yourself, but as you can see, it's quite long, so we're going to summarize it for you and give you the key talking points from this video, of which I think there's 3, but there are some extra things in there as well that we will briefly cover today. But of course, with this being a discussion video, we want to know your thoughts in the comments down below, so get involved, let us know if you think these changes are positive, negative, or if you're not bothered at all. I think there'll be a mix of opinions, definitely. This will be a controversial one, I'm sure, in the wider FM community, but let me know your thoughts, and don't forget as well, whilst you're down there, to like the video and subscribe for more Football Manager content from me and Josh here on the channel. But let's get right into it, shall we? The first part isn't one of the 3 major talking points, but we should note Miles covers briefly what happened with the first esports event in Football Manager history, the FIFA E Football Manager World Cup. Now, it was a brilliant event. I personally was someone that thought that an esport in Football Manager wouldn't quite work, and whether the skill gap is there for people to get better and better at the game, I'm not sure, but in terms of an entertaining event, it definitely was one. We had plenty of creators getting involved too from all around the world, including RDF Tactics, who not too long ago, a few years back, was here making videos on the FMSCOUT channel when I started, so it's great to see him doing so well, and who knows, maybe one day it'll be me out there performing in the World Cup. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The winners were Indonesia, so congratulations to them, and then the runners-up were Germany. So it all seems pretty positive, but pre-warning, this is about as positive as it gets in this development update, because from here we get hit with the first major talking point, and that is a change to the game's release date. Now, normally we see Football Manager come out officially in early November. Around 2 weeks before that, late October time, we get access to the beta if you've pre-ordered the game, and during the month of September we're usually getting the feature rollouts, learning what's coming in the game, so you can go ahead and pre-order it once you know about all the features. But this year it's been pushed back. We're looking at a late November release date now, and therefore the beta is probably going to drop mid-November, and we're not really going to be getting any official announcement until the end of September, at which point we'll get some information on gameplay and new things coming to the game. So we're going to have to wait quite a while before we get any real look at what to expect. Now, this is where I get slightly worried, and a lot of people in the FM community have also, because if it's just a case of a release date being delayed so they can polish the game, I'm fine with that. I mean, so often companies out there release games that aren't quite finished, you pay full price for it and have to wait 2 months before it's been fixed. That isn't something you want to expect from a game you're paying money for, so if Sports Interactive are purely pushing this back so they can refine and polish aspects of the game, then that's great and I'm all for it. My only issue is they have pushed this back quite late in their Football Manager cycle, and what I mean by that is about now we usually start getting some information about the new game. The fact that they've now decided to push that back, how long ago this decision was made, I'm not sure, but it makes me think, I mean, I don't want to be like the bearer of bad omens, but it makes me think maybe something's going wrong, or at least the game isn't quite functioning the way that they want it to, or looking as good as they'd like it to be. I think they've put a lot of pressure on themselves previously by saying FM25 is basically like a rebirth of the series, moving over to the new engine. So I mean, it's going to be a tough challenge moving over completely to a new engine. Obviously, there's going to be teething issues, and I'm expecting it, and hopefully most people in the FM community can give them that leeway also. But it does worry me a little bit that maybe something behind the scenes really isn't working as much as they're expecting. Now, it does say their entire dev team has been challenged in a myriad of new ways and doing an incredible job, which makes me think that things are okay. It's just taking a bit more time than normal, and I hope that is the case, but that is the situation. The release date has been pushed back. I don't think that in itself is going to worry anybody too much, really. Obviously, it's a little bit annoying if you wanted to play the game soon, but an extra few weeks wait isn't the end of the world. It's just slightly worrying that maybe the game isn't quite what they're wanting it to be just yet, and with quite little time now before release, only a few months in a game development cycle isn't too long. I hope they can get it right and get everything sorted in time to announce some features and get the hype train rolling again for the new game. So the release date issue is something that I think many people might just feel quite neutral about. Some obviously will feel negative. No one's really going to be positive about it, I'm sure, but I don't think too many people will be too annoyed in that sense. But when it comes to the next announcement, I think they will be, because they have announced that international management will be removed from FM25 and hopefully will come back in the future in a better way. Now, I'm all for them not having modes in the game that they've talked about previously that aren't quite used that often and aren't quite ready to be featured in the new game. But international management, even though it wasn't played by everyone, I think they mentioned somewhere that 5% of players, there you go, 5.6% of PC saves actually had international management involved in them. And whilst that is a small portion, it's not necessarily nobody. People are using that mode, and it is something that I think will be a loss to the game. Now, personally, I haven't used international management all that much. I think it's quite basic and doesn't quite do what you'd want it to do, and people have been crying out for an overhaul in international management for a while, and if this is the way that we're going to get it, maybe it's not the end of the world, that we miss it for a year and then we get it later down the line with changes. Meanwhile, they can focus really on swapping this engine over and getting the core of the game working to a high level instead of focusing their time on something like this and changing that. So I can see it. I'm not too bothered about it personally, but I know it will cause quite a lot of controversy in the FM community. Some Build a Nation saves now might not be so fun because you can't go on and manage, say, the San Marino national team in the end. But yeah, I still don't quite know how to feel about this, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not too bothered myself, but I know it is a big loss to the game. But if they can bring it back and make it better, the same that they've said they're going to do with other modes, I don't think we'll complain too much. I think most people can get by without it for a year, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts. Are you wanting the game to be cheaper because it's missing these modes? I've heard some people saying that. I don't quite think that's how it works, but maybe it is. I don't know. What do you think to this? Are you happy international management's going? Are you happy it's going to be refined? Or do you think it should still be in the game and then they fix it for FM26 and make it better then? And just so you know, I'm not making it up about it coming back in the future. They do say that it will come back in FM26. So as long as they stick to that, we should see it down the line. There's then some personal stuff about how it's affected the creator, Miles, having to put more time into creating the game. So obviously it's a full team effort, all hands on deck to try and make FM25 everything they want it to be. And that's okay. But then we get to the next actual talking point, and this is the one where I think there is literally no issue with it at all, but some people seem to be getting worked up about it, so I'm just going to give my thoughts. Basically, on player profiles, they're getting rid of the weight category, so you will no longer see how much a player weighs, and this is because whilst weight in male football tends to stay the same, as it says here, women's body types are different from men's, and their weight fluctuates a lot more often weekly, so they're choosing just to remove completely the weight from a player profile. It will still be available behind the scenes using the in-game editor, but when it comes to actually being on a player's profile normally, you're not going to see their weight. Now, some people are getting annoyed about this and saying, you know, all the things they've been saying already about women's football. But look, if you don't want to play women's football, you don't have to. No one's making you. It's going to be a nice addition to the game that people that want to use it can go ahead and use it. Losing the weight on the profile itself is not an issue. I'd say the majority of people out there that are going to complain about the weight being missing probably didn't even use it all that much anyway, if at all. Me personally, it's not bothering me because I never looked at weight. In fact, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't even have an impact on the game. Maybe it does slightly, I'm not sure. In terms of a football player being big and strong, that comes under the strong category. So why would you really be bothered about their weight when there's literally an attribute for strength? And the weight is just being hidden. It's still behind the scenes. I don't think anyone out there has signed a player because, oh, you know, I only like players that are £200, not £199, whatever it is. It just seems strange to me that that would be something that people are annoyed about. In fact, I think they could have gone ahead, made the new game, not mentioned this, and it would have taken a while before anyone really kicked up a fuss about them being gone. I'm sure someone would have noticed it, some eagle-eye player, but I certainly wouldn't have done. I don't think weight's important in the game, and if they feel like they want to take it out so that they can have this ecosystem of men's and women's football going together, then that's fine. I'm sure there could have been a way they could have done it with dynamic weight for women or something, but look, I'm not going to get too bothered about that. It's not the end of the world, and that is the one that for me is not really an update at all. Some people getting annoyed about it. Now, they do finish off by saying testing is still going ahead, and anyone that's signed up to be tested that's been picked will still be doing it in the same time frame by the looks of it, and they are hoping to have some good stuff to show us later down the line and get us excited. But right now, I think just the fact that they've removed another mode and that they've delayed the game a bit longer, there's a lot of people out there, me included at first when I read it, that thought, uh-oh, something's going wrong here. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We're going to keep waiting and hope that FM25 is everything that it's built up to be. Obviously, we're losing some modes and now international management. There's some other stuff as well, of course, but I think we can look past it. But let me know your thoughts. Maybe you can't. What do you think about it? Let us know, but thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll have some more news soon that we can bring to you guys, so subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.